In the 80s, we saw a lot of coming of age films. And I think a lot of people reference Stand By Me as probably the best, even though it takes place in the late 50s. It's kind of the standout as a coming of age film for especially younger guys. In the 80s, though, there was plenty of films that did it, and I think did it a little better. And I love Stand By Me. It's a fantastic film. I just did an episode that came out, a two-part episode for Ready to Retro. And we talked all about it in two episodes about the great Stand By Me, Rob Reiner's work on that, the amazing cast, 40 years. But this film, I think I like better. I know this is wild because Stand By Me is so legendary and it does hold a special place. But as far as 80s coming of age films, this has always been my favorite. And it skews a little bit more comedy, but there is serious coming of age tones in it. Albeit not as serious as going and finding a dead body, body of Ray Brower and Stand By Me. Regardless, 1987's Whitewater Summer. This movie I have been a fan of since I was a child. You can get it on DVD here. It comes in a 2-pack, another Kevin Bacon 2-pack right here with Quicksilver, another film. We'll talk about it another time, but Whitewater Summer. This movie came out in 87. It was filmed mostly in 85. Sean Astin plays the main character, Alan, who is like a city kid who his father and his mother want him to get out of the city for the summer and kind of have a growing up experience, a coming of age film, attend a camp type setting, but it's a little different. So it's ran by Vic, this guy Kevin Bacon plays, who's an avid outdoorsman. He's a professional hiker. He's a mountain man. But he's well schooled. He's not, he's very well spoken. And he is, one with nature, as some would say. So he plays, the movie opens with him pretty much pitching Alan's parents to, what this summer could be for Alan as far as engaging with nature and getting out of the city and not being so engulfed with the city culture and really growing as a person by going on this outdoor, pretty much camp that's led by this dude, Vic, played by KB. And he goes on, reluctantly, he goes on this trip, and it's just Vic, him, and three other guys. Matt Adler plays Chris, who's kind of like the leader of the group per se, and pretty much kind of a dickhead and a know-it-all. You wouldn't recognize him as a more meek and mild character in Teen Wolf, where he played Lewis, who was the friend of Stiles and Scott Howard, who kind of judges Scott for embracing the teen wolfness. And, he feels like Scott's too cool for school. Him and Stiles are too cool for school. And I think Lewis is like a year younger. So you'll recognize him from that. He was also in Flight of the Navigator, I think. You'll recognize him. That's immediately what I drew to and recognized him from, seeing Teen Wolf right around the time I saw this and, the mid 90s when I was discovering all these films. And this was a movie I loved when it came on. When it came on HBO or Cinemax or Showtime or whatever, I loved when it came on. Obviously, this is a bootleg Blu-ray, by the way. And if you want some info on it, I'll get it for you. This is a great transfer. Great transfer of this bootleg because there is no Blu-ray or 4K of this. If you want it, you can get it in a 2-pack here with Quicksilver. This came out years ago, probably 2014, it says. Okay, so there you go. And Quicksilver's from 87. We'll talk about that one at some point on the channel. But Whitewater Summer, I've always loved this film. So Casey Martell, who you would recognize from E.T., he was one of the friends in E.T. He plays George, and this kid's like wearing camo. Looks like his father might be in the military or something, but he's not like, he's kind of like, he plays a tough guy, but you could tell he's weak, and you see that in a couple scenes in the film. He's one of the kids in the original Amityville Horror from 1979 was that. And then John Ward plays Mitch, who is kind of like Alan's like closest friend out of this group of three as they, continue on this little journey, this little summer, which there's whitewater rafting, hence the name Whitewater Summer. They go whitewater rafting, they hike mountains, they climb, the Devil's Tooth, which is a crazy cliff, the face of this big cliff. But Mitch plays Alan's like closest, most relatable in age and kind of like nerdiness. And yeah, he was in Mac and Me, another great 80s film. Obviously, a lot of 80s talk here, classic films, E.T., and Mac and Me too, the Extraterrestrial and Flight of the Navigator, three spacey 80s movies. But so a small cast, very small cast, and the only cast members that we really get besides like some people in the store when they stop at a storefront is this group of 4 boys, including Sean Astin and Kevin Bacon. And then you see Alan's parents at the beginning of the film. Other than that, you don't really get any other characters. It's a very small, condensed cast, and I think that aids well, and it flows so nicely. It's about an hour and 40-ish minutes, and it's a great coming of age film because you see Alan goes from kind of an entitled city kid who thinks he's smarter and knows better than everybody, and he gets taught lessons by Vic, and it's just it. And then you see Vic, go off the edge and lose it on kind of him being disrespected by the boys as a group, by Alan, and Alan thinking he's smarter. And there are some instances where you realize that Alan is smarter. They play chess and Alan like beats him. And he even says that one of the kids, George says, "Oh, Dickface won." And Vic goes, "Yeah, Dickface won." So there's even like, KB almost feels like he's one-upped by Alan at certain points in the film and makes Alan pay for it. Makes him clean fish, doesn't want him taking shortcuts with the way that he's trying to train these boys to really do the right thing and live with nature and be nature and not shortcut your way around, because you can't always shortcut. There will be a time when you can't shortcut your way to skinning a fish or whatever. And there's life lessons here for sure, and I think the bigger life lesson is that you can teach an adult something too, even if they think that they're teaching you it. So obviously, this is way more lighthearted than Stand By Me or anything that's a little bit more adult coming of age or adult seeming. But this movie is so fun. There's a lot of laughs in this one. Killer soundtrack. Bruce Hornsby in The Range. Bruce Hornsby, solo artist, but he started, a project where he had The Range, which was a full band, and he put out a record. And, The Way It Is was a huge song, but he's got a couple songs on here. The Cult is on here. Journey's on here. Killer soundtrack with only, probably like 4. Oh, Cutting Crew. You'll know Cutting Crew. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. That was their big song. But Life in a Dangerous Time, that track's on here. Great song, great band. Often recognized as a kind of a one-hit wonder, but the Cutting Crew is broadcasting one of my favorite records. Absolutely, definitely check that out. Amazing soundtrack, amazing vibes, great summer movie. I always watch this around Labor Day weekend. Highly recommend this one. If you're an 80s fan of 80s films with a great 80s cast, this is something you need to check out. And like I said, this is a bootleg. This is a really, really, really good bootleg. This is really well done. I hope that we get a nice 4K of this at some point, or even a Blu-ray. I'll settle for a nice studio Blu-ray. But right now I have this, and this is more than enough. And I have a DVD backup copy just in case. But yeah, Whitewater Summer, Kevin Bacon, Sean Astin, really, really a fun film. And the director of photography actually died after they filmed. They filmed most of it in 85. They filmed most of this in 1985. And then it wasn't released until July of 87. It only made like $300,000. I don't think it cost much to make, and didn't get a wide release, clearly. But John Alcott, the director of photography, the cinematographer, he worked with Stanley Kubrick. He did Clockwork Orange. He did The Shining. He did Terror Train. Guy's a legend. And unfortunately, he passed away in July of 86. The movie's dedicated to him. No Way Out with Gene Hackman and Kevin Costner. That movie's dedicated to John Alcott as well. It was his last 2 films, Whitewater Summer and No Way Out, both released in 87. Tragically, he passes away. He died in the French Alps of a heart attack. And I believe he was on location filming. And he was an Englishman, worked with Kubrick a lot. And Terror Train, Clockwork Orange, The Shining, Whitewater Summer. This guy, he did great work, and it was really a really unfortunate that he didn't. The cinematography in this is underrated. There are some great shots from the Devil's Tooth, the big face of the cliff that they climb. There's great camera work in this, and that's John Alcott. R.I.P. to him. Did a tremendous job with this. Tremendous job. Amazing job. The film looks beautiful. If you told me this film only made $300,000, it's mind-boggling because it looks like $1 million. I think it flows perfectly. It's a very fun film. Again, coming of age film. One of my personal favorites. I talk about this movie all the time, especially to friends that either have seen it or haven't seen it. This is a movie I've championed for 30 years since I've first saw it. Huge fan. Love this film so much. So if you're in the mood for a new movie you haven't seen from the 80s, or an older film from the 80s that you haven't seen, Whitewater Summer, I can't recommend it enough. This is one of my favorite 80s films of all time, and one of my favorite coming of age films. And like I said, I love Stand By Me. I have a deep affinity for that movie. I love it. I love the cast. Talked about it a bunch. But this one is very special and very personal to me as well. And definitely check it out. You can get the DVD in a 2-pack. I think you could probably get it solo. Obviously, VHSs are still kicking around. No official release of this, but check it out. Have you seen Whitewater Summer? And if you do, where does it rank? Do you love it? Do you like it? It seems like it's kind of still under the radar a lot with a lot of people, especially even 80s fans, which I think is a shame. This movie needs more recognition, and hopefully this video can draw you to it if you haven't seen it. Whitewater Summer from 1987. Like I said, this movie was mostly shot in 85. They kind of capitalized. They kind of capitalized on Sean Astin doing the narration of kind of looking back on his summer, where he looks a little older and he's kind of doing the fourth wall, talking to the camera, narrating at spots in the film. And it's a really fun and different kind of movie for the 80s. And I think everyone should love it and enjoy it. So Whitewater Summer, check it out.